I'm Vathay, and here's what I have to say on finding your personal style.
No, you're good.
It's less about finding a box to fit neatly into or following a very stringent and cookie cutter guideline that is just very easy to digest for other people. It's more about tapping into all of your unique qualities and embracing the things that you think make you weird, to be honest. And from there, finding points of intersectionality that you can build a compelling visual story from. Your wardrobe can be a very valuable tool to express who you are. It can resonate with your feelings, your interests and experiences, and really reflect all the things that have shaped who you are. One way that you can begin to hone in on curating a wardrobe that better reflects your personal style is to compile imagery that you resonate with. The way I was trained in art school for my fashion degree was to develop a mood board at the start of any collection. This helps to maintain a focus, direction, or a point of inspiration to return to, which is useful because it's very, very easy to veer off and get lost during the creative process and lose any sense of balance or cohesion that you might have started with. As an example, I've begun to compile my own imagery into a mood board. If it becomes overcrowded, you can always take a step back and reevaluate what imagery is working with each other and what imagery is working against each other and trim back as necessary. And then it'll begin to feel more like a story. And then you can begin to pull colors directly from these images and further gauge a mood or a feeling. Like my color palette is more muted and moody. In addition to this, then you can begin pulling words that this exercise evokes for you that further solidifies connections between the imagery. Typically, you'll see a mood board that is a little bit more clear cut and, how you say, easy to digest, because they're usually for commercial marketability purposes and they're less about an actual individual person. But for the purpose of this exercise, I would argue that it is okay for it not to feel so derivative. In fact, I would actually encourage that because people are multifaceted. We can all work a little harder to uncover and understand connections between things. The next stage is to pinpoint your target market, also known as the character profile. Who is the demographic this collection is going to be designed for? What are her traits? What is her life like? In this case, who are you trying to be? Answer: yourself 2.0. In a character profile, when being used for collections that are going to be bought and sold, the designer would include things like salary range, age bracket, location, kind of activities and lifestyles the target person they're marketing towards would fit into. But I felt it was sufficient enough for me to just throw down some traits and characteristics in no particular sequence of a person that I would admire or aspire towards. This board is not to say that you or I are lacking in characteristics. It is more to reinforce the idea that this is the type of girl that I would admire. At this point, you can begin to derive a style inspiration board. The strategy is not to be trendy. Trends fade and cycle through with time. Instead, observe the details. Details can evoke feelings of a different era. They can emulate genres of music and literature, art movements, different locations around the world, and subject matter. These elements influence the conversation. So a style inspiration board is a way to link back your character profile and the themes that you pull from your mood board together. So I would recommend picking out about 6 design details that would help you to accomplish portraying those themes and feelings in a very visual and compelling way. I even coined this name for the design elements I put together just to help me further solidify the idea in my head about what my aesthetic will shape up to be. Doing even a little bit of research on the history of art or fashion history can be really helpful in understanding how different details correlate to different style movements in fashion. And from there, you can begin to see how these different style movements can be bridged together in your own wardrobe. Just by evaluating the more prominent themes in my mood board and in my style inspiration board, I was able to sort of see what ratio of what particular style, theme, and fashion that I would resonate the most with. So for me, I know that I want a limited number of pieces in my wardrobe because I'm working with a small space. So having the maximum number of wardrobe pieces that I'm going to have in mind while implementing this ratio of style themes is going to help me to create a more balanced and curated wardrobe. Aesthetic is taken to the next level when considering the right fit and a strong palette that suits your unique and beautiful appearance. There are several shapes that human bodies generally correlate to. There are also different sizings according to height. I myself am 5'2", which is considered petite. So the way I build my wardrobe would consist of pieces that flatter my petite height and lengthen different parts of the body that I want to help me to appear taller. Skin undertone is also a really important component of building a strong look combination that works for you. Do you fall more on the cool end of the spectrum or the warm end of the spectrum? In between would be neutral, so maybe you fall somewhere in between these points. Another factor to consider is gender expression. How much of your wardrobe do you want to convey more of a masculine energy versus a feminine energy? Important question to ask. All in all, an impactful collection encompasses all of these factors together. In other words, it should represent an amalgamation of all things you. Remember that life isn't neat, so there's no reason that you should put yourself into a box. More than anything else, you should have fun with your wardrobe and remember that there's no fixed rules in fashion. Once you know them, then you know where you can break them, and even more important than that, be you. And happy styling.